off the Dreamhack Astro Open in Montreal.
Canada, eh? Don't even know what this place is like anymore. Peter's going to hold off from outside. Passive hold as well from the CTs all the way back in the yard, but they put more aggression toward B, so they want to funnel away the early B play, which a lot of teams elect to run. Cloud9, not going to. Going with full armor rather than going for the rush, which you might have expected based on the buy. They're going to slow down and play picks, and I expect that they're going to try and utilize skill in a lot of fashions throughout this game. So look for a lot of aim battles before execution from Cloud9. Until that gets shut down, I don't imagine a whole lot of smoke and walls will be used.
Yacer's actually going to linger up here as well. Stewie's aware of this, worrying of the chance, but Ye's actually able to get another kill. That's a 4v3 here for compLexity as they remain in control of the upper B halls. Ska trying to deal with this as Automatic gets pushed up into the A site, Peter towards the site, and Automatic's just going to slow this down.
Out, Auto finding death as well, so kills on both sides. They've lost two, but this opens up some space. The problem is they never put any aggression toward Ivy, which left Android with full control of both range and motion to control the angle. As Skadoodle tries to fight back, knows they've rotated in spots the second player in EA, but not able to collect him. There's 1 HP for Peter, so if he could have pulled the bait and switch and backed off the initial duel, had a chance at forcing out the one-on-one, but compLexity actually wins it. And immediately Death goes on to an MP9 buy, so these guys are looking to farm up some cash early. We've got a technical call from Ye, so it's on compLexity's side.
All right, fair enough, fair enough. Here's, of course, Ye's 3K on the upper halls. Just tapping away the heads. I mean, I actually like that you apply a bit of upper B pressure. Again, you just alluded to how so many teams will opt to go there as the T side. It's very simple to just throw a smoke down ramp to the backside of the site and then execute in for at least the bomb plant, right? Many Ts like to play for just that early gun round, and one single bomb plant can do that exactly for you. So this is a nice little setup here from compLexity. And again, the fact that their second player is able to just linger there long enough for Cloud9 to feel the pressure, for them to rotate over to that A site, where then we have Android just hit those next 2 kills. If they had been able to split that from Ivy, then all of a sudden I'm sure A becomes much more in question, but leaving Android to his own devices can be oh so deadly, and I think that's a great example of it.
It's a technical call. We should be back underway relatively soon. Cloud9 saw them rolling down to the venue relatively late, so they're going to just jump in and get on with it. No time to warm up, no time to get super, I guess, strict or regimented. Take this one game at a time. Obviously, Tim with a fever. Now, let's go back to the last time I was in Montreal. 2 years ago, oddly enough, at least for Counter-Strike purposes. Yeah. I've been here for other reasons. We won't go into those. But alcohol's good here. The last time I was here for Counter-Strike was obviously ESWC 2015. It was July. And a Cloud9 player by the name of Jordan Nothing Gilbert, who is no longer with us, may he rest in peace, once had a fever at that event and played lights out with a bag of ice on top of his head. So it's, you know, I get that people are sick and sometimes everyone handles it differently. Everyone has a different means by which they sort of recoil in their sickness, but sometimes people just get sick and they just focus. They just get the task at hand done. And Nothing played one of the best games I'd ever seen him play under those circumstances. So maybe that could be mirrored in Montreal.
I think that if anybody can do it, it could be Tim. Well,
Tim's pretty good. I'm not gonna lie, I like Tim. When I first saw him on TSM at ESWC Season 1 Finals in London, I was actually very pleasantly surprised. I actually thought Sick was a player that was going to have more breakout potential during that tournament and during that event, and obviously he's never really amounted to it. He's had a few chances and he makes steady progress, but Tim just went to another level, especially when he joined Cloud9.
His growth was exponential in comparison to Sick. You're absolutely right. I believe that was still while Stewie was on the same lineup, was it? Or am I wrong?
Ooh, yeah, I don't remember if he was or wasn't. I'd have to look back. Yeah, I think he wasn't, but I could be wrong. Someone could correct me. There's a lot of events in my life.
I was going to say, you watch a lot of CS.
Yeah, you're actually stumped me on that one.
So, compLexity, obviously with a favored buy, having won that pistol, but it's Cloud9 to come in with a double scout setup. Stu's going to actually have Kevlar with his. We're going to find Cloud9 just taking this one slowly. Ultimately, Peter's able to find an opening kill. That's rush off of Ivy, seeing as compLexity put 2 players there. You'd expect them to come up with the kill, but Stewie's going to get a chance over towards the B site. Looking downwards, he's unable to find anyone as Ska tries to hit A at the exact same time. So Cloud9 applying pressure all across the board.
Pressure is one thing. Kills are another against weapons that don't favor them, but again, going aggressive, and I imagine this has a little bit to do with their confidence and individual skill. Nade goes deep. Doesn't quite catch Skadoodle on 17 HP, but tags Automatic down to 27, excuse me. That's enough for Peter to pop back out and take down, what do they call it? Dirty Peek Peter, was that it? Did I get that right?
Dirty Peek Pete.
Well, either way, it got a body shot with the scout, and they're able to collect the round. This as well with a kill for Def on the MP9 as the scout bat built up. It should be a rifle buy for Android to support the fact that we're going into the gun round immediately after this, but they can afford a bit of, okay, so Android's going to try and farm up early on the MP9. He could have gone rifle in that situation. And in doing so, therefore, would have been set for future rounds. But I guess they're thinking if they want to go for the bonus round, they already have the M4, they already have the FAMAS. All they need to do is make sure those 2 rifles sustain the round. In other words, if one of those players goes down, one of the SMG players will grab it.
Of course, we mentioned as well that they would love to get into that double op setup as early as possible. Something that I believe compLexity should be trying to play to their strength, seeing as they are the heavy underdogs coming into this game. It's going to be a standard B-site hit, obviously a $200 flashbangs, all that Cloud9 have invested. So little to lose and much to gain as they're on the cusp of this site. Def hungry for targets, but it's Android from the back of Spools to spray down 2. Tarek responding with his pistol, but Def's still here, so the bomb plant always in question. Skadoodle's got it, but Peter gets him with a nade at a distance. That's compLexity to convert for 3.
The unfortunate part about that was actually that Android actually, you said sprayed down 2, but he only got credited for 1 kill. He will get frag money in the fact that Tarek took down a teammate and he got the assist on it, so he'll be given kill reward, but it won't be the full SMG. So he doesn't farm up as much cash as he potentially was hoping to do. Either way, they drop both SMGs immediately and go into a full rifle round, so they don't want to give anything to Cloud9, even for an economical game, which a lot of teams will elect to do early on maps, but compLexity is taking nothing for granted, which I don't mind. As opposed to the round in terms of setup, very different. Peter's going to go aggressive and catches off Skadoodle. If we want to see the battle between the AWPs, good way to set the tempo early. It smokes himself off. No response, no spray through the smoke from Cloud9.
Hayes had just mentioned how Peter wanted to be that man, the player that gets aggressive and makes these plays. And that's a prime example of it. So compLexity hang on to the 5v4 as all of a sudden Cloud9 have to slow down. They've left the bomb towards spawn. No commitments can be made, but at least they still hold the extremities of the map. Now, this is opening a great moment here for compLexity to maybe push up inside of the A bomb site. They're aware that Ivy pressure has been applied, so it would give them the counter to that. But seeing as Ye's inside of ladder, I doubt we'll also see them take T-Con, which again would be wide open for the taking. Yaster now to stand underneath the ladder, hoping Cloud9 rotates down.
Getting a lot of information based on the sound. Flash is significant, but it catches both. And back up the ladder goes Stu. However, he's caught out, dropping back down. Good response, Tarek Ye, missing the shot initially. Gives the AK time to set and ready for the headshot. Android, alone in the open at the front of the site. Slemmy's not got enough information as to what's going on at Ivy, playing very passive to watch down toward Hell. Can get information, but he can't play support to Android if they bypass and get to quad, which they've done. Automatic is able to slip out, and yeah, Slemmy and my apologies to him, but a little bit too far away in my opinion. Needed information earlier from Ivy to play support, especially leaving Android that far in the open, but bomb plant finally, Cloud9, backside shown. Peter gets automatic down, it's on to Rush.
He's sitting behind that E-box. Def allowed to cross onto the site itself. Utility low here for both sides. A single flash on Def as he taps the bomb. Rush not gonna buy it till he peeks for the headshot. So Pete's all that's left. And he's got himself that kit. Wants to go high. He's been spotted as Rush just backs up for the clutch. 1v2, Cloud9 to the board.
Very easily controlled by Rush. Too quick to go for the bomb. If they had played it out for a trade, they might have had a better chance. Especially getting information, but yeah, easy 1v1, 2 1v1 situations. And once it went down to that situation as well, with Peter coming back in, had to rotate. No chance. So this actually hurts the economy because compLexity elected not to go for the bonus round, because they had to put in so much reinvestment early on to get the rifles out. It's a chance for Cloud9 to strike, close this down to a 1-round lead. Skadoodle stays on a Deagle as well. They've actually read into this to some extent because they want to get him back onto an AWP as soon as possible. And having a Deagle against pistols with no armor, aside from Android, all is fine. So Android, as he looks closer, sees that in hand. Has Ye to cover off Pop Dog. He can put focus directly onto Automatic's position. Cloud9 are playing this correct. If they do believe in hype, quite clear that they've read into the economy. If they know this is an anti-eco, they're playing it 100% accurately, waiting for any pushes, waiting for any aggression, not giving away rifles or trades early.
Going to be using that utility to just clear out the corners of the Ivy side, eventually allowing for them to just pinch into the A site. Of course, we do still have Def pushed up on B, so he could be very quickly flanking them if they decide to execute, but Rush has already started to make some success on Ivy as he finds Slemmy and walks through the smoke. So he's going to actually start wrapping all the way around this defense. And while the rest of his team lingers towards their spawn, this is perfectly fine. Give Rush ample time to maybe find some frags. Meanwhile, Automatic and Stu come charging out from T-Con. Rush with a spinal tap, but Def is able to trade. Only for one, however, as Automatic's there to stop it in its tracks.
Straightforward again. 3 guns stay up. Skadoodle only had the Deagle. Straight back into a buy for Cloud9. And it's going to be a decent buy considering for complexity, so they are disciplined enough to get an AWP back out with Kit on Peter. He's the only one with a Kit, keep in mind, but they've got 4 smokes. Android not able to join in on that. To be fair, has to do with the fact that he bought armor in the last round, which I don't think was necessary. If he had sat back on the full save, he'd had better utility to support his teammates, because he's got very little utility. In fact, already throwing the flashes and could have had a second Kit easily.
3 players on Ivy here from Cloud9 now. This is going to keep a lot of attention from complexity at the A bomb site, and something that they've been suffering from as of late is leaving Def alone on that B bomb site. If he calls for reinforcements, I find complexity time and time again are always too far away. You know, kind of similar to the way that Slemmy was caught on Ivy in that previous gun round when Cloud9 were able to entry into A. But we'll see as Peter actually loses 60 points of health. Yaster getting aggressive into T-Cons, able to find a 5v4, but at what cost? 3 players on complexity already tagged.
Tagged, but good map control. They've limited Cloud9 early enough, so Stu's able to grab the bomb back. They'll pull Skadoodle away from Ivy to support the position on A main. The round you alluded to was a round where they didn't have enough information. This is the opposite. This time they got map control early, and without the utility, where they've already used the smokes, they have to stand this ground. They have to be able to get the early pick, which they've managed to do so. So great start to the round from complexity. Bomb down again. They know they have to retrieve the position, but Tarek's on the scene. Android's able to immediately pull back on him, but gets overzealous, goes for the gun, gives Skadoodle a step, but not a shot as Android pulls it back with a headshot to immediately make it 4 rounds. Complexity, a better start, and Cloud9 was caught out.
Really nice T-Con control there from complexity in that round. Again, as you said, not only netting them information, but they're able to successfully trade frag with Android being right behind Ye. You can see how Skadoodle's even caught off guard by the fact that he doesn't fall back. He stays there, he holds his ground, and based on those positionings, complexity are able to win a gun round that ultimately put Cloud9 in a tough spot. Of course, it's not the immediate hard reset, but they're just going to be able to buy some pistols here in this one. And we can never count them out with these guns. Deagle from Automatic at the distance could still find a head. Complexity, though, playing very patient. Still 2 players back by Ivy. 1 man on the site, and there it is.
How is
Automatic!
That's incredible from Automatic as he finds a 3rd as well, but how have they let him walk in? No one even looking at A main, and they know they're against pistols. He's got 4 headshots, and he's going for the ace already. A gun at his disposal as well as Automatic has the AK to his leisure, and the B site wide open. Peter's trying to not move toward the stairwell, does not want to give away this AWP, but that was, I'm sorry, complexity, lackluster. They gave away so much information, so much control. They'll rush him down quite literally as Rush gets the kill on the Tech 9. But Automatic, talk about a fever. Yeah, he's looking very hot.
Did a single one of these rounds miss? Or was that 4 headshots, 4?
I think he hits a body shot. So 1 body shot, but then follows it up. Either way,
beautiful.
It's impressive. But again, how do they leave A main completely open?
Yeah, again, I mean, we just said how they were playing very passive back towards Ivy. They were giving him that space to exit out, and I just don't think they're expecting him to hit those beauties of a headshots. That was fantastic stuff from Automatic. Single-handedly winning that round back for Cloud9, and now obviously look at complexity, left in shambles. 4 USPs, a P250 on Pete, but that's it. They stack up the A bomb site, Cloud9 go to the opposite side of the map. That's the kind of window of opportunity that Cloud9 would love to work with.
No investment into the rounds. They're up against rifles, so they can try and look for exit kills. They were up against the SMGs, you'd argue the kill reward if you want to try and limit Cloud9's economy, but at this point in time, any exit they can get would be beneficial. It's highly unlikely they'll even try and, or even, excuse me, establish any of those. They're going to rotate around to hold off both exits, but 4-4, with 5 staying alive after winning an eco. Cloud9, especially Automatic, he's got $4,700 right now, having not needed to buy, are going to give themselves a round buffer in the bank, and complexity is going to be only on a 2nd round loss bonus. Yes, they'll be able to buy, but it means they won't have any more than 1. So next round, if they don't win it, could break the entire half for them, and Cloud9 just starts to walk away.
10 players up at the end of this, all right.
Yeah, rare enough. It's funny, every time I mention it, it never happens. I didn't mention it, it did. Kind of like my life in casting. Just don't talk about it and it happens.
That's all right, though. Leaves you worse for wear. As all of a sudden we're tied here between complexity and Cloud9. But it is complexity back on the buy. Now that's one thing, right? They haven't actually had to go into this double save territory as of yet. Their economy has been controlled well enough for them to still try and bounce back, but they're obviously going to be left sour after a round like that from Automatic. It's going to be a quick play towards the top of the box halls from Cloud9. Immediately convinces Def to give up his angle, but again, he's all alone here. And compLexity having nobody nearby to rotate. There's no one inside of Zed, nobody back towards CT spawn, Old Bomb. It's going to be a really tough position if he had been caught out. But Slemmy's actually going to get ahead of this by moving over towards B. And Cloud9, in the meantime, they changed direction. Ye had a big play from this position in a prior round. He's going to have to do it again as Cloud9 start to trickle their way his way.
Yeah, he's trying to zone this time, though. Android is a little bit closer, but not inside of A main itself. Good read. Automatic's gone down twice in that position to the early frag. And this could save compLexity in the round because they're sitting back and they're anticipating without information as to which site they're going. They're almost gambling. It's similar to how they didn't watch A main. They're expecting something that's not, there's no reason to expect it. And if they'd gone toward B, Def was alone, and as you mentioned, no one was nearby to rotate. I'm not sure what the setup was. If you're going to stack, especially the quad side of A, you've got to look for information. So thankfully, Ye finds an opening pick for them. This will allow them to spread out into a more standard default on defense. I would start to watch Cloud9's aggression toward T main. I'm willing to bet a lot more utility is expelled to clear that position time and time again for them at this point.
Yeah, compLexity not going to be wanting to get caught in that trend. But Cloud9 are looking to catch them on the A site. Android is to the top of the train. He's got a player on site. He's able to catch one, but it's traded back as Stu hits two and takes this to the man advantage still for compLexity.
Good
but
read.
There, nicely done. They catch Ye out, and it's back into a 2v2 retake on the A site.
Good information from Tarek. He knew early on that Ye was in position toward A main as Stu locks down the other two. It's very simple. Tarek knows he's in toward A main, but knows he hasn't done anything to draw his attention. They knew that they were at Ivy, but Ye was so complacent inside of T main, expecting more aggression that Tarek just had to time it. As soon as he threw one nade, he knew he was baiting out and switching back. So very good for him to remember in about 45-second window that he still had to consider that position, and that ultimately wins. And that frag from Tarek ultimately wins them the round because it secures Stewart's position, allows the bomb to go down, and he controls it from there. It's pretty straightforward for a guy like Stewart when he's in that position, I'd say.
Yeah.
Dreamhack rules now, by the way.
Yep.
Valen's allowed to speak during the freeze time. So coaching rules have altered slightly.
I think that's going to be a good lineup now for Valens to work with, right? You take a guy like Tarek, who I don't know about your feelings towards it, but when he was announced that he was going to be the caller for this new lineup, this new super team of Cloud9, I was taken by surprise. The one thing that I respect is that he seems to have the ambition and the leading attitude to kind of take over that role. And I think that with a guy like Valens in his ear, at least these events, he's certainly going to be able to maybe be more successful than some would expect. Similarly to the way, say, I'm a Pet is in the ear of Freiburg.
Yeah. Totally. I mean, well, I will be in the ear of Freiburg. We've only seen them just this week, looking very good at the start of Pro League, I have to say. And I'm kind of like Jason. I wanted to be an optimistic sort of opinion about the new Optic lineup and that, yeah, okay, there's skill there, but I wasn't thinking, I thought they might be like group stage upsetters, you know, maybe not making it through the playoffs regularly. Freiburg sold me on it, you know, that guy could be a salesman. Had a nice conversation with him in Malmo. We were sitting at the bar. It's funny how alcohol sells me on things, but Freiburg told me all about the new team and I was 100% on board. So I'm thinking that they might be onto something with that team. If he can call the way he suggests that he might be able to do so, then they've got something up their sleeve. I think it's a bit of a gray area right now as well. I just want to go into that because it's not really North American Pro League anymore, is it? It's fine if they wanted to invite the Americas and then bring in the Brazil. Okay, and then the Oceanias, well, you need somewhere. They're a good enough team. Where could we put them? All right, skill allows that they would, especially having moved to North America, be in that group. But now you have a core European lineup playing in the North American League. When does that start to become, like, if that's the case, we know there's a skill disparity top to bottom in North American side of Pro League. Europeans obviously been very close. Virtus Pro this year relegated. We've seen tiebreaker situations the last 2 seasons. We've seen up to 10 teams being in contention going into the final week to make it through to the LAN. If some of those European teams that just happen to be outside just by a little bit start to look at North America and there's no real set rule, who's to stop them from coming over? Who's to stop them from coming and saying, well, we'll just take a North American League spot and be reasonably competitive in that league and then get through to the finals, which guarantees a prize money? I think there needs to be some review of the rule set, in my opinion. But that's just me. I'm just a dude. I just talk on a microphone.
Yeah, it's all right. You have an opinion, and I'm glad
I've got
that
a
you
lot
speak
of them.
it.
Yeah, thank you.
We're allowed to speak opinions here. We're in Canada.
It's true.
No, I mean, you're absolutely right, though. The thing is, it's uncharted territory. Again, including the Americas, that's a whole other game. They don't have their own pro league. But no, there's definitely an argument to be made for each side, I think. If anything, I welcome the change in the sense that maybe it'll light a fire underneath some of the other teams that need to now really step up their game. Because if not, those spots are absolutely in question. Not just the spots in terms of, like, say, relegations, but also in just, when does a organization decide to cut it, change things over, grab a European lineup?
Well, I think, yeah, it's a debate for perhaps another time in another place with a bald man that can have a lot of opinions about North American Counter-Strike. He tends to do so. He's not with us. But we are going to take a short break. Cloud9 sitting in the server, up 5-4. Bit of a comeback going on as they went down 3-0 off the start. Lost the ensuing second gun round, I should say, not the first. compLexity trying to play from behind. We'll be back in just a second.
This is love.
Yeah. Hey. I'm going crazy. Yeah. Yeah. Come on. The voices in my head are telling me to avoid you. Locked inside my house, it's like I'm stuck in a void room. Either nothing's real or it's just what it seems. Cause my straitjacket is about to bust at the seams. Walking in the shadows like I'm living a dream. Am I sane or insane or somewhere in between? Bite my nails short from all the anxiety. Maybe I should be locked away from society. Yeah. It's getting crazy. 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 It's a cry for help. Talking to myself cause I can't talk to anyone else. Stuck in a room and the walls are covered in padding. Picking at the lock, I need to get out so badly. Show me ink blots, asking what do I see? I see God and the devil dancing under a tree. Sounds crazy to you, but it's nothing to me. Going crazy is the only thing that's setting me free. Yeah. It's getting crazy. 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 It's getting crazy.
We're near the end, baby. No matter what we do, it keeps ticking away, ticking away. You are my summertime love in the faraway place. With your loving soul and that beautiful face. No one can know about the days I spent in your embrace. You're no good for me, is what they're all gonna say. You are my summertime love. When we go back, no one will know how we were. heart, baby. The memories of us are just fading away, fading away. You are my summertime love in that mystical place. The way you looked at me left me with a sweet taste. The feelings I felt with you, no one else can ever replace. Or the way your hands gently touching my face. You are my summertime love. When we go back, no one will know how we were. You are my summertime love. Out on the beach watching the stars up above. You gave my summertime love. Before you, I just didn't know what love was. You gave my summertime love. You gave me summertime love. You gave me summertime love. You gave me summertime love. Before you, I just didn't know what love was. You gave me summertime love. Before you, I just didn't know what love was. You gave me summertime
Off the Dreamhack Astro Open in Montreal.
Canada, eh? Don't even know what this place is like anymore. Peter's going to hold off from outside. Passive hold as well from the CTs all the way back in the yard, but they put more aggression toward B, so they want to funnel away the early B play, which a lot of teams elect to run. Cloud9, not going with full armor rather than going for the rush, which you might have expected based on the buy. They're going to slow down and play picks, and I expect that they're going to try and utilize skill in a lot of fashions throughout this game. So look for a lot of aim battles before execution from Cloud9. Until that gets shut down, I don't imagine a whole lot of smoke and walls will be used.
Yacer's actually going to linger up here as well. Stewie's aware of this, worrying of the chance, but Ye's actually able to get another kill. That's a 4v3 here for compLexity as they remain in control of the upper B halls. Ska trying to deal with this as Automatic gets pushed up into the A site, Peter towards the site, and Automatic's just going to slow this down.
Out, Auto finding Def as well, so kills on both sides. They've lost two, but this opens up some space. The problem is they never put any aggression toward Ivy, which left Android with full control of both range and motion to control the angle. As Skadoodle tries to fight back, knows they've rotated in spots. The second player in EA, but not able to collect him. There's 1 HP for Peter, so if he could have pulled the bait and switch and backed off the initial duel, had a chance at forcing out the one-on-one, but compLexity actually wins it. And immediately Def goes on to an MP9 buy, so these guys are looking to farm up some cash early. We've got a technical call from Ye, so it's on compLexity's side.
All right, fair enough, fair enough. Here's, of course, Ye's 3K on the upper halls. Just tapping away the heads. I mean, I actually like that you apply a bit of upper B pressure. Again, you just alluded to how so many teams will opt to go there as the T side. It's very simple to just throw a smoke down ramp to the backside of the site and then execute in for at least the bomb plant, right? Many Ts like to play for just that early gun round, and one single bomb plant can do that exactly for you. So this is a nice little setup here from compLexity. And again, the fact that they're second off the Dreamhack Astro Open in Montreal.
Canada, eh? Don't even know what this place is like anymore. Peter's going to hold off from outside. Passive hold as well from the CTs all the way back in the yard, but they put more aggression toward B, so they want to funnel away the early B play, which a lot of teams elect to run. Cloud9, not going with full armor rather than going for the rush, which you might have expected based on the buy. They're going to slow down and play picks, and I expect that they're going to try and utilize skill in a lot of fashions throughout this game. So look for a lot of aim battles before execution from Cloud9. Until that gets shut down, I don't imagine a whole lot of smoke and walls will be used.
Yacer's actually going to linger up here as well. Stewie's aware of this, worrying of the chance, but Ye's actually able to get another kill. That's a 4v3 here for compLexity as they remain in control of the upper B halls. Ska trying to deal with this as Automatic gets pushed up into the A site, Peter towards the site, and Automatic's just going to slow this down.
Out, Auto finding Def as well, so kills on both sides. They've lost two, but this opens up some space. The problem is they never put any aggression toward Ivy, which left Android with full control of both range and motion to control the angle. As Skadoodle tries to fight back, knows they've rotated in spots. The second player in EA, but not able to collect him. There's 1 HP for Peter, so if he could have pulled the bait and switch and backed off the initial duel, had a chance at forcing out the one-on-one, but compLexity actually wins it. And immediately Death goes on to an MP9 buy, so these guys are looking to farm up some cash early. We've got a technical call from Ye, so it's on compLexity's side.
All right, fair enough, fair enough. Here's, of course, Ye's 3K on the upper halls. Just tapping away the heads. I mean, I actually like that you apply a bit of upper B pressure. Again, you just alluded to how so many teams will opt to go there as the T side. It's very simple to just throw a smoke down ramp to the backside of the site and then execute in for at least the bomb plant, right? Many Ts like to play for just that early gun round, and one single bomb plant can do that exactly for you. So this is a nice little setup here from compLexity. And again, the fact that their second player is able to just linger there long enough for Cloud9 to feel the pressure, for them to rotate over to that A site, where then we have Android just hit those next 2 kills. If they had been able to split that from Ivy, then all of a sudden I'm sure A becomes much more in question, but leaving Android to his own devices can be oh so deadly, and I think that's a great example of it.
It's a technical call. We should be back underway relatively soon. Cloud9 saw them rolling down to the venue relatively late, so they're going to just jump in and get on with it. No time to warm up, no time to get super, I guess, strict or regimented. Take this one game at a time. Obviously, Tim with a fever. Now, let's go back to the last time I was in Montreal. 2 years ago, oddly enough, at least for Counter-Strike purposes. Yeah. I've been here for other reasons. We won't go into those. But alcohol's good here. The last time I was here for Counter-Strike was obviously ESWC 2015. It was July. And a Cloud9 player by the name of Jordan Nothing Gilbert, who is no longer with us, may he rest in peace, once had a fever at that event and played lights out with a bag of ice on top of his head. So it's, you know, I get that people are sick, and sometimes everyone handles it differently. Everyone has a different means by which they sort of recoil in their sickness, but sometimes people just get sick and they just focus. They just get the task at hand done, and Nothing played one of the best games I'd ever seen him play under those circumstances, so maybe that could be mirrored in Montreal.
I think that if anybody can do it, it could be Tim.
Tim's pretty good. I'm not gonna lie, I like Tim. When I first saw him on TSM at ESWC,
seeing as Stu is about to find an open site, he might call for the rotation, but Def finds an opening kill that could make things hard. My God, Ye gets a double deke. Now he's traded back by automatic, but that's still a 4v2.
Yeah, this is, again, a very surprising start to the round and not typically what we're used to seeing in the current meta of CS. Welcome to North America. No harm there. But again, they start off with the deagle kills that aren't expected at all. Ye does very good. Impressive accuracy. He's been very good in that position toward T-Main. He's been shutting down Cloud9 multiple times. We talked about him winning exchanges with automatic. But again, as soon as all focus goes to one direction, they get tunnel vision. They don't look for information elsewhere, and that's when Stu knows when to strike. Give him an inch, takes the whole map. Why not? Because they give it to him. Def gets it back down to a one-on-one. Stu's in a bit of a disadvantaged situation with 3 kills on 7 HP. As Def knows exactly where, well, not exactly, but roughly where he is toward the back of the bomb. Just misses his chances. Stu's able to slide over and get behind Ivy, and this will allow a rotation all the way around toward the bomb. Def has to consider this.
It's all going to come down to timing. Def able to exit over towards Zed. This is a much more safe position where he can just hide in the corner. He's got complete cover, and he's just going to play responsively to whatever Stu decides to do, because that's the thing. He lost his chance to find the frag. The timing just didn't work to his favor. But now he realizes the man's on the A site. Stewie's going to cross, and he actually gets back with his gun in hand, but 6 seconds to the clock. He needs to find the plant. Def could spam, decides to wait. And now it's back to the gun duel.
Better to wait. Better to wait. You can fall all the way back and get shot under the train just barely if it was lined up correctly, but has to force out the plant. Knows he's got 6 seconds. If he fakes it even once, he lost time. So better for Def to take the gamble. He's still in a good position with 48 HP, but no kit makes things a little bit more awkward, as he has to force out the duel relatively soon. He'll go toward A main, where his teammates went down. Catch if there's a kit in that position. It was Nico to start, remember, so unlikely, but he's getting aggressive. He gives up too much. Stu hears him climb on top of the train, and a 4 kill to pull Cloud9 back. And as you say, it would have turned things, especially the picture we just painted about Economy, because now it's a 5th round loss bonus. They'll have money on the compLexity side, but Cloud9 continue to take the lead and control it, because if they had to force a reinvestment, this is a break point either side.
Oh, what a shot. Gets the head through the man who is jumping through the sky. Nicely done. But as you said, they get fixated on a single direction. I mean, again, you go for that A-site stack, you know B's so open for the taking. So when you get a 4 versus 2 man advantage, you'd think somebody would, you know, be wary of that potential flank. And in this case, they don't catch Stu. He's allowed to get over towards Old Bomb, slays 2 players towards the site, and it's during that ruckus that, sure enough, Def's in a 1v1, could have got it done.
It's an old mentality. It's a matchmaking mentality in some ways, not to liken it to such a rudimental level, but a lot of times when a bomb goes down, you think, okay, all we have to do is defend the bomb. The problem is if it's early in the round, there's so many access points by which the CTs can take back, or excuse me, the Ts can take back, and that's what happened. We saw Peter with this duel last time. Skadoodle ready for it on the second approach. It's the op shot advantage for Cloud9, but to finish the point, you can't rest on the bomb alone. You can keep tabs, but if it's in a choke point, it's why a lot of times you'll see teams like Virtus Pro, Navi, they'll back off and give it up again, knowing that they have to go to that position, knowing that it's bought them time, and they'll take map control elsewhere in doing so. So it's almost the reverse psychology in that way, that you want to take map control on the other side of the map. Meanwhile, Slemmy, good shot on Rush, automatic. Gets it back immediately. That will allow the plant for Cloud9. And the save call is going to be made immediately by compLexity.
Yep, moment where they've just been able to tuck tail towards the Ivy, but look at this, aggressive from Stu. He wants to hunt. This could pan out. Again, 2 players up. It's been 4 rounds consecutive now for Cloud9. They know exactly where they're at. Oh, but Yaze is going to hang on for the time being. Of course, the cash for Cloud9's not in question, really.
Not at all, but it certainly is for compLexity. They'll remain on the loss round bonus 5 rounds, keeping these 2 guns up. Digit economy, they might, oh, good shot from Ye again. So they'll force out some reinvestment from Cloud9 going into round 12, but it puts them at a position, specifically with an AWP still in the hands of the CTs, that they could force up UMPs, few extra M4s, depends how much utility they want. Don't save those guns, they're back to an eco.
Yeah, I think that last round's a good example of how Cloud9 are going to start to adapt to the setup of compLexity. We mentioned how it's been very heavy on A main, very present towards T-Con. And now, all of a sudden, they're going B on the gun rounds. Gadoodle's going to get aggressive, jumps out from T-Con, gets a line of sight over on Ivy and catches Peter to the top of the train. So a 5v4 immediately as now automatic doubles down. And this is another round where compLexity are nowhere to be found. But the bomb's been dropped behind them, so there's still ample time for compLexity to rotate into position. Maybe they catch some kills. But this looks like another round for Cloud9, done and dusted.
Automatic winning out C main early this time and taking map control. Tarek, bottom of the ladder, expecting Ye to rotate around. So the only point of contention has been just early aggression from compLexity toward T main. Everywhere else, Cloud9 has had control. And again, this round they're able to do so. Not only that, Automatic's more expecting of a duel, drops bomb and goes aggressive instead. And another save, or at least attempted save, from compLexity for the same reasons. Maximum loss bonus. Every gun matters. AWP's already gone. Slemmy only on a FAMAS. They'll buy around it if they can. If they can. They cannot. Stu will take him down. And it puts them on a position. Around 13, you're already on a loss bonus. I'd say force this. The worst case scenario, okay, they're going to go Deagles, which will leave them in a better buy in the next round, but I take it back. They're not going to go Deagles. Look at that. Are you seeing what compLexity has done?
Yeah, so this was kind of what I was talking about in the pregame, right? Where like now they have the depth on a lineup to maybe go for the triple. Like they could theoretically have 3 different operas, but Yaster's supposed to be one of them. Maybe he's feeling the Deagle and Android wants to scout instead. It's weird, but with the distance of the Ivy, maybe they're able to make this work. Ye does start it off with a Deag, but Tarek and Ska, they're going to chime in with 2 quick kills. Peter shanks his own teammate, because why the hell not?
Can we get a replay of that, please?
It takes it down to a 4v2, but makes up for it maybe with a late headshot onto Tarek. Still a massive advantage for Cloud9, especially seeing as they've smoked off the site.
I mean, the attempt to go for 3 scouts, obviously you want to get the body shots, you want to set up a firing squad, do as much damage as you can, and then the pistols become viable, and you bring it down to a situation that's somewhat sustainable in that sense, but it's such a risk because it's so easy to overwhelm them and rush them down, take the control as soon as a missed shot comes in, which is basically what Skadoodle did to get toward Hell early on. They make it close and get it down to a 2 versus 2. But Cloud9 again wins the rounds. With the buy as it is, they'll be able to go full on again. It's now 7 rounds in a row, Cloud9. And they're just riding the...
He killed him.
Yeah, he did. He just straight knifed him. I'm glad we got that replay, by the way. Thank you for that. But they're riding the loss bonus in a way that almost is a French mentality in you know, forcing out constantly if you're Envy, if you're G2, as opposed to trying to take one on the chin, sit back, get better utility, and play standardized Counter-Strike. They've got better guns to work with this time and some smokes. So we'll see if they can try and control choke points elsewhere. But Tarek is ready for the fact that they've been pushing A main every time. Ye goes in, should trade back, but Ye continues to be impressive in the same position.
Clears the corner, catches Tarek on the peak. Now it's going to be Stu, but he gets the job done. Able to take back that portion of the map, but time and time again, Android's been here to try and trade. Nobody else presents themselves, however. They smoke it off instead, leaving compLexity inside the site and forcing Cloud9 to regroup. Of course, 3 players still up with 1 smoke grenade on the belt of Ska. They could go back towards that standard B execution by smoking down the ramp, leaving the Opper to the upside. There's definitely an opportunity for Cloud9 to exploit. Rush might even stick towards T-Con, hoping to maybe keep pressure on A.
Yeah, he does have individual skill. Maybe Pimp needs to reconsider the thought of not injecting any of these players to the Cloud9 side. He's on 17 kills, sits well above anyone else on his team, and well above anyone else on the server for that matter. Peter, you can already see a bullet hole where he tried to fire in toward the wall shot at T-Con. Instead, takes down Rush. Second shot, not as successful, but Stu is going to have to sit back and play support role for Molotov to get a shot for Skadoodle. 1-2 to the angle, but Skadoodle tagged in the process. Goes down to 10, and worse off finds Slemmy. 5 could be on the cards.
Stu does catch the man to the top side of the train. He is still very lit. 11 health, though, and ambitious off the ladder, but at least that's information gained. 10 seconds left, no chance. compLexity able to get another gun round. But again, another clash over towards T-Con. I mean, we were talking about...
That's literally their strategy right now.
Yeah.
And to be fair, Ye's doing very well at getting in there every single time. That time anticipates the position and gets the trade, but that's all they have in their arsenal. And Cloud9 is, I think, making it easier than they should in that position. If they wanted to get an AWP in position early and play picks, they could play that much faster.
Cloud9 clearly aware of it, though, setting up Tarek behind the boxes with a teammate pushed up close. But this time they're just going to charge through it yet again. Automatic's already trying to entry to the site. Meanwhile, it's Ye with the op to find Ska, so that double op setup showing off.
And this is exactly the double up setup you want to run. Peter had the perfect spawn to shut down Brown Halls. That allows them to get more information toward Ivy, put more pressure on it, and Ye, again, continues to be impressive. Takes down Skadoodle. They can back off a little bit inside of B, and it's up to Cloud9 to respond. Decent smokes still to do so. We've not seen too much execution from Cloud9 in this game.
Nice Molotov, though. That's going to burn the feet of the man in the corner. But Ye gives up the angle. He had it held. Now he's just going to go for the wall bangs. This is information for Automatic, who might decide to peek. All of a sudden, a rotation towards that B site off of a bit of utility usage, getting ambitious and at least putting 2 players inside of Zed. But Automatic, meanwhile, he takes down Slemmy off Ivy. This is a great opportunity now for Cloud9 to come charging in. Tarek able to catch Ye, and now the site is crumbled. Great exploitation of that rotate.
Straight smoke toward Z connector. Peter already toward Old Bomb, but has no vision. Knows therefore the planner went to the right, but that's very ambiguous information, considering he's in a 1 versus 4 that he must at least attempt, and probably should have just typed killing console if that was still a thing, because Stu finds him pretty quickly. 10-5 Cloud9, so 2 rounds in the end go to compLexity in terms of guns, when guns were up. Otherwise, all Cloud9 in that half, and they took control pretty early with the economy. I have to say as well, you mentioned it, you did paint it well. Automatic's Deagle round, that's when compLexity could have had a much larger stake and much larger share of the rounds if they'd not lost that and lost control of the economy.
Yeah, there was another opportunity in the 9th round where they got it down to a 1 versus 2, and then the 10th and 11th again were 1v1 situations, and all 3 of those rounds go Cloud9. So I'm not going to say that that would have been compLexity's chance to take the lead, but at least maybe straggle together a couple more rounds, because as you mentioned, outside of the pistols, there was no conversion points. It was simply 2 one-off gun rounds added to the opening 3. So compLexity very, very tough off, but had those clutches gone their way, could be a completely different score, or at least one that might be a smidgen more even.
I was totally expecting that to be a fidget spinner.
Yeah. That's what it looked like, right?
Thank you, Tarek, for not having a fidget spinner. So heat packs. Haven't seen those in a while, actually.
Makes sense, we're in Montreal.
Yeah, it does. It's been a little colder here this week than when I left to go to Malmo last week. But yeah, it's very common for players to use them, but I haven't seen them as much because we've been in booths at the last few events, so they have temperature control at their disposal, if you will. Pistol underway this time, a bit more utility brought out from Cloud9. We saw 5 sets of Kevlar brought up in their T-sided pistol. This time Skadoodle will have a kit, 2 flashes to work with. Meanwhile, on the other side, Slemmy, in-game leader, as always, will be the utility man. Has a smoke to work with. If they want to execute onto either of the sites for a fast plant split default, no one rushing B early on in this game. The bomb is approaching at least into the brown halls to evaluate. This could be a wraparound with Ye and Peter. If they can take down Automatic fast enough, watch for them to push the backtracks if bomb wants to commit toward the B site.
2 players inside the bottom of ladder, though, from Cloud9. That's curious. Of course, that's going to allow for a fast B flank, but also allow for them to come back towards A if they lose Ivy.
single flash won't be enough because one forces out, like you said. There's two there, and it's a better dodge from Rush the trade. Tarek has it. That was always going to happen. That's why the second player's playing the position. So a split onto the A site rather than the wraparound. And the flashes are not enough. Skadoodle, great shot on Ye. Pulls back from what he lost in the last round and last half toward him. As it all falls to Peter, 1 versus 3. Armor to work with. Bomb down. Down and babysat by 2 players at the pop dog position, and Skadoodle already has the information, so they can afford to stay there and not be caught off as Skadoodle continues to try and hold to force Peter and funnel Peter towards Sandwich, which he's done successfully. This allows us to watch Skadoodle wrap around behind him. He should be anytime on his backside. Perfectly played.
Excellent. Cloud9 with a pistol that could very easily seal the deal. Not even a bomb plant there from compLexity. I like to see that execution, though. You could see that they definitely wanted to split the A bomb site with those 2 players dropping ladder, the 2 guys over on Ivy, and then 1 man out on T-Con. Just applying pressure from all 3 entrances. It's a little more complex than that standard just ramp smoke on the B site and flooding of this bomb site, which generally ends up in a retake regardless. So definitely wanted the win there. But 2-man setup at the bottom of ladder. 1 jumps out outside of the door. Perfectly played by Cloud9. They read into it. And they counter it effectively. This grenade from Stu, if he chucks it through the hole in the top, that could be massive. They are setting up.
Yeah.
Ooh.
They have armor. If they didn't have armor, that would have been huge. You hate to see it.
Oh, you do. Now, compLexity are going to put a bunch of guys at the top of the B side, so they might just come parading down into the bomb. It's going to be tough for them to work pistols at that distance, but they'll try. Android catches the head of Stu. Ooh, that's 2. That's an open bomb site. At least the plant. Maybe guns retrieved.
Oh, there's an MP7 down where Scott died. They could pick up. First MP7 I've seen in a while. I don't think I saw one at Malmo. A lot of MP9s. Tarek, a lot of free kills. At least 1 on Peter. Forces back the other direction to find Android. That gives Automatic more confidence to walk out from Z Connector, and it's just Def they have to find. Def does have a Deagle. Tarek does have low HP, but he's spotted already. And running up Tanker, Tarek knows he's got time to hold. Has no kit, but Automatic has time to therefore get in position if he were to rush him down. So a good crossfire set based on a bait from the bomb, and Cloud9 pick up round 12. And I still want George Michael instead of confetti.
It's that horn that just, it's like fingernails on a chalkboard. Nicely done by Android, able to catch the Deagle headshot towards Stu on site, but Tarek and Automatic are able to just hold composure and get that retake happening. So nicely done by compLexity. They're actually able to maybe boost their cash for their eventual gun buy, but it's going to be Cloud9 on 13, or so it should be by the time that occurs. Of course, the triple Deagle. Somebody, Yaster himself, looking to pull an Automatic. We'll see if Cloud9 can fare any better than compLexity. He has been given space, and he's been given the shot, but Rush takes him down immediately so. And from here, the T's should crumble. They are still going to be trying to employ that 3-direction split with the emphasis on Ivy.
So that's fine. It's a similar setup by which I criticize compLexity. I'm going to talk over this because it's just an eco at this point that Cloud9's playing well. They want the distance with the rifles because they don't want the pistols to obviously get kills and pick up the guns to take advantage of it. The difference is that at least Rush, unlike what compLexity was doing, was watching toward T-Main. They had everyone watching Ivy, and Automatic walked in. They had 2 players not even facing him, not even moving, easy shots. This time Rush is at least able to get the information. It's fine to give the distance, but you have to give consideration to every approach. Either way, forget distance. We're on to the rifles. We're on to the big guns now, Scrawny.
Let's do it. Speaking of big guns, there's only one off in play. Peter goes straight for it. Cloud9 very content to just keep their cash. Why not? Hold on to the FAMASs and actually allow for one of them to push. That's Stu. Gets burned out of the corner from Brownhalls, but nobody's actually watching for that kind of a play. Instead, they want him to wrap that corner so he can just contently sit behind these boxes. That's nice forward map control and also over on ladder.
Smokes down. First set piece we've really seen thrown by either. 1 to quad, 1 at E-box. It gives front side entry, but no fast plant. Not to mention Skadoodle playing control, has vision above the smoke. Rush has Pop Dog covered. That's information for Tarek to go aggressive and watch the flank as well, because Tarek, he's already taken depth. It won't matter for the flank, but it lets Stu be confident to rotate in. That puts everyone on the outside sights and everyone firing effectively as Tarek finds his 3rd kill. Cloud9 2 rounds away from the end. And was it Hayes that said 16-5?
Ooh, I believe he did.
Damn.
One thing that I will give to Cloud9's CT side as opposed to compLexity is I think that the rotations have just been much faster. The moment that compLexity have decided to commit to anything, we were watching all the players from Cloud9 just barrel down on them. I mean, Tarek comes charging out from Zed, catches a man on the entry, and it seems like compLexity are struggling to take these 2v1s. Everyone gets caught off.
When you go back to the compLexity side, in fairness, we never really saw a standardized default for them because we either saw them pushing aggressively in T-Con or Peter getting a pick at Ivy. We never saw what they were going to do in terms of throwing out smokes and forcing rotations to try and force the offense. Cloud9 had control early in a round in a fashion and in a standardized way that they were able to take control of the economy. Again, going to flash through. This is perfect. Stu, shooting gallery. Tarek's with him. But Cloud9's actually forcing their play. They're actually controlling and dictating the pace on the CT side. That's something compLexity never did.
Yeah. I mean, Stu so aggressive, just immediately charges up behind them. compLexity caught not checking something once more. But they'll have an actual opportunity yet again, seeing as they do have guns this time. But 10 rounds is a big ask, seeing as they've only won 2 gun rounds in the rest of this game. They've been close on certain rounds, but close just doesn't count it.
Counts in hand grenades.
Yep.
Well, horseshoes and hand grenades, but I prefer hand grenades to horseshoes.
A bit more exciting.
A little bit. Yeah, tends to get people jumping. Rush takes down Def, starting of the end, perhaps, even though there's guns up. Matic has to be a bit careful edge of the smoke. Audacious with no flash to put him in. He tries to get a cheeky gap, gets 1 for 1. That's reasonable in the situation. He could have come out much worse for wear as Tarek continues to control on Pop Dog. Bomb dropped. Rush with 5 will play a headshot angle toward the stairs, and he's going to time it. WP, it's a tough shot to hit, and Peter's going to back off, give it up. Allow Ye to go ahead with the rifle instead. Flash timing was good. If Rush had gone aggressive on it, he had Ye fully blind, but didn't have the nerve to do so, and Ye is impressive, at least with the accuracy. We'll give him that, but unfortunately, we won't be able to give him the game on that alone, even though he'll finish with 20 kills, or maybe one better, at best case. Okay, fair enough. 21. They'll fall in the end. 16-5, Cloud9 starting off this tournament exactly as they need to. Remember, a shape-up event for them as they head as one of 2 North American teams to New York next week. It's also their second event with